It's Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with the multi-division world champion, Oscar Valdez, and he makes his ring return, none other than Phoenix. Footprint Center, December 7th against Emanuel Navarrete, and I would say a highly demanded rematch amongst the boxing fans. First and foremost, it's nice being able to talk to you, not with 100 of fans wanting to get pictures out in Vegas. But how's training camp been, and how locked in are you for this rematch?
It's good, brother. It's been good. Training camp has been good. I've been locked and loaded, ready to go. Focused on this fight. As everybody knows, we lost the first fight, which was devastating for me because I thought I was 100% I was going to win that fight. But now, winning my opportunity against Leon Wilson, I think that's the ticket that bought me that made me get this rematch. Um, I feel blessed. I feel blessed to have another opportunity, but I'm more focused than ever because I've faced him already. I know what he's got. I know his advantages, and I've been training for them every single day, almost an obsessed way. Um, because I love this too much. I've said this before. I don't think he loves this more than I do. I want to last in the sport of boxing. I want to be one of those examples like Donito Donaire or Bernard Hopkins or Juan Manuel Marquez, who are not the typical who retires at the age of 35, 34, 33. I want to last in the sport of boxing. But for that, I gotta win this fight. This fight means the world to me because like I said, before he beat me already, it's for a championship belt. And it means everything. It's my own personal um it's my own personal uh goal. Beat this guy and continue on from there.
You mentioned that it seems like he isn't as hungry as you. And I know that you do commentary work and you're more than just a boxer. You actually analyze these fighters from afar. Did you get a little bit of that from his last two fights with Robson and when he went up and tried to capture a title in 135?
Well, the one thing that I'm focused on is I'm focusing on the best vaquero out there because yes, we saw him lose against the Ukrainian fighter at 135, but we also got to recognize the fact that he was going up in the division. So he's not as tough as he is at 135, but he is going to be a tough fighter at 130. So I got to be ready for that. A lot of people have been telling me, yeah, he didn't look so good as in his last fight, so you should beat him. And I think, yes, I'm gonna beat him, but not because of that. I'm gonna beat him because I'm a better fighter than him. I'm gonna beat him because I train harder than him. I'm gonna beat him because I'm more disciplined than him. And I'm gonna beat him because of several other reasons, not because of him not wanting this too much. So it's a lot more factors of why I visualize myself winning this fight because I just consider myself a better fighter, a smarter fighter, a fighter who has a different styles in his arsenal. So that's what I'm coming December 7th. I'm not really focused on this last fight because I know this saying, you're only as good as your last fight, but I can't get confident with a fighter like Vaquero Navarrete.
I know you're a classy guy. You don't make excuses. You never have. And um, when you fought him the first time, you guys gave an amazing fight, and it also seemed like both of you guys were compromised in the fight. Obviously, his arm was claimed, and then your vision. Did that really impair your ability to fight throughout that fight, or did you just feel like maybe was not the night?
It was not my night. It wasn't the eye. It wasn't. It was just not my night. And also, one thing that could be a factor was my game plan. My game plan was off. Um, it was my mistake. I always want to let that clear because we you can have the best trainer in the world, but at the end of the day, if you don't do what the trainer told you to do inside the ring, at the end of the day, it's the boxer's fault. So because I heard a lot of criticism towards my trainer, so I said, well, that's unfair because when we win together, I get credit, and when we lose, he gets a lot of blame as far as certain people from. So
Mhm.
I think my game plan was just off, and because we had a good game plan, but I left the game plan because I was just looking for that one shot. The fans were there and they were enjoying it. It was loud, and I wanted to please the crowd and go for that one shot knockout. And it did not work, especially with a fighter like Vaquero Navarrete. So now going back, looking at the picture, looking at the fight, looking at film and watching the fight, I say, I made a lot of mistakes. So we're trained day by day, trying to get better and become just a better fighter, be a smarter fighter inside the ring, and win in general.
You know, granted, obviously you would like to right both wrongs, right? You and Shakur's moved up in weight,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that you've had similar feelings in both losses, but we've seen visibly, I guess some of your emotions kind of poured out in that fight. Does this win feel like between the two, right? Obviously you want to right the wrong, but does this one feel like you actually need to right this wrong opposed to like the Shakur, and why is that?
Yes, I did way more than Shakur because it's, I don't, every time I'm against a fighter, especially if I were to fight Shakur again, it doesn't matter. In my mind, I'm gonna say I'm gonna beat him. In my mind, I'm gonna say I gotta beat him. I gotta do this. Because that's the way fighters should think. But in reality, when I fought Shakur, I was 100% ready for that fight, physically, mentally. I was all in that fight, and I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing to Shakur. So I gotta, one of the toughest things as a fighter is to accept the fact that you did your best and that wasn't enough. It's hard on your in your ego as a fighter. But as far as a vaquero fight, I know I'm a better fighter. I know I could win this fight. It's just that we lost the game plan.
Hmm.
I fell off. I lost focus. I made a rookie mistake. Made several rookie mistakes, and that's what's gonna be different from this one. Just be the smarter fighter. That's why it bothers me this more this loss than the loss I had with Shakur Stevenson. Because a lot of times it's not about losing, it's about knowing you gave it your best. But my last fight with Vaquero, I know I wasn't the best that I know I can be.
Obviously premature question, but it always has to, always be asked. I know you're focused on, Navarrete. You get the rematch win. Ultimately, what happens next? Is it to stay at 130 and to be undisputed? I know there's guys you fought in the amateurs, Oshaki Foster, I believe you got a win. I know that reporters have asked you, you haven't called out Lomachenko, but you fought Loma and the amateurs as well. Is ultimately just staying at 130 is where your head's at.
Right now, yes, right now, yeah, but right now there's no fighter out there that is Vaquero Navarrete. Because if I look at all the fighters right now at 130, I think the guy to beat is Vaquero. Then from there, man, go on. The sky's the limit. Every fighter out there's dream is to be an undisputed champion. So yeah, that would be a goal that I would definitely want to accomplish. But it's um it's very hard. It's very hard, but it's not impossible. And you gotta
Mhm.
always aim for the hardest things. That's what we're going for with the fighter with Bacaro Navarrete. Because I got the question, why take that fight? I said, why not? I want this fight. Why not? This is the fight. You got to take risks in life, and this is one risk that I'm willing to take. It. I'm going for it all. But yeah, 135. Why not in the future? Maybe I consider myself a small 130. I will definitely be a small 135. But you never know. At least maybe try test the waters in the future. See if see if my body could adapt to that division. And why not? Why not? Because, like I said before, life is about taking risks, and
Mhm.
I would definitely like it. But right now, it's to conquer 130, conquer 130. That's the main goal.
You know, um, not expanding on possibilities because you answered that straight. But the realistic fights, are probably like the Ivan Branching where Navarrete fell short. Keyshawn Davis might get that fight. There's Raymond Muay Thai and things like that. Are you if after the Navarrete, right? Are you kind of at the stage now where yes, belts are important, but are you now kind of looking to right wrong and then go for the biggest fights possible with the biggest names and create like spectacle fights like um with the biggest guys around your divisions?
I mean, at the end of the day, if the money is right, but this is me being extremely honest. I do this because I'm very passionate towards this. I'm very passionate towards boxing. The belts do mean something to me. They
Hmm.
carry a weight. Um, at the end of the day, I want to let my kids proud, and I want to leave my people proud. And when you look at Mexican fighters, when you go to any school in Mexico and you ask the top 10 Mexican fighters, you always hear Julio Cesar Chavez, un Salvador Sanchez, Puas Olivares, una Juan Manuel Marquez, Eric Morales, Barrera, and I think that's more special than money. So I wanna win championships. So one day, when I'm not here, I can be mentioned in that list.
Awesome. My last question on this, on the fights and everything like that. You know, Navarrete is a very awkward fighter, and you come from a great amateur pedigree background. You have a lot of great fundamentals. Um, the first time when you fought him, was the game plan to just try to like outbox him, outthink him, opposed to get into a drag out fight?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Use our footwork, and beat him to the punch, and time him well because he shows a lot of his shots. But that once again, when I was inside the ring, I realized why he wins these fights because of how effective his awkwardness is, and I realized inside that ring what his best shots are. So now that I'm on this side, now I know what to expect. Now I know how to train for him because it's very hard to get a sparring partner that's that 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 imitates him in a sparring ring. It's very hard to find a sparring partner like that. But now we've got the perfect sparring partner for him. We've been preparing ourselves for this type of fighter because the first fight, like I said, we just prepared ourselves to be a better fighter. Now I'm preparing myself for Vaquero Navarrete because the first time I made a rookie mistake just by looking at him one fight. I said, okay, I know how to beat him, and that was a little bit of a cockiness, a little bit of ego, saying that he's not better than me, and I think that was a mistake. So now we're cold mind, looking at his fights, watching what we have to do, and like I said, training in every single aspect to we can win this fight. So,
My very last question, and like I said, I appreciate you. You got the fighter side and then the great commentary side that everyone praises you when you speak. You kind of chimed and mentioned that you were 100% with Shakur, and like as a fighter, you mentioned that hey, it's hard to kind of like say, I can make the same adjustments that you feel in the Navarrete fight. There's a lot of names at that division, and he's been part of all these potential fights, like with Tank. I mean, he's probably going to fight William Zepeda, who's a pressure fighter that's going to give him a lot of work. I know Keyshawn's entered the division, and I mean, at the top, they're not going to fight. But do you think Shakur is the best 135er that could beat Tank and Zepeda and even Lomachenko, a guy that you sparred against? I mean, not sparred against, fought in the amateurs.
I mean, Shakur, and only because I stepped in the ring with him, I know his abilities, his IQ, and his defense is on another level. Is on another level, and like I said before, it's hard for other fighters to acknowledge other fighters' style. Um, but Shakur's, you gotta keep it honest. The guy there's a reason why he's got that name. There's a reason why he's Shakur Stevenson as far as the champion that he is. A lot of people don't appreciate his style as far as especially the Mexican fans because they're more accustomed to having wars, but you're not going to get a war with someone like Shakur Stevenson. If you're someone who appreciates boxing skills, like a Sweet Pete, like Pernell Whitaker, and like these great movements of boxing, well, yeah, you're gonna like someone like Shakur Stevenson, but him in 135 I can see him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best at 135. You got some monsters at 135 like Tank Davis. For me, it's either Tank Davis or Shakur Stevenson, top of the line. Those two are the main two fighters, and you got all the fighters right in that same division who are also Lomachenko. He might be considered a veteran, but he's still a dangerous fighter, and in all these 135s, they all gotta keep an eye on the newcomers. We can't forget mention Abdullah Mason out there. Abdullah Mason,
Yep.
I do believe he's the next big thing. He did get dropped last fight. That people don't understand. That's only gonna make him stronger. That's only gonna make him more. His ring IQ gets smarter and get better as a fighter. I have high hopes on someone like Abdullah Mason. and I think he could be the next big thing. But as far as right now, I'm not surprised if Shakur Stevens is the 130, the king at 135. If these fights are made, because right now who I got top of 135 will definitely be Tank, but um, I wouldn't know who to go to if those two fight. As far as Shakur and Tank, I will lean just a little bit towards Shakur, but I never step in the ring with someone like Tank Davis. So I only talk out of experience that I've been in the ring with Shakur.
Awesome. Well, look, I appreciate the time. Extremely classy as always. This is why the fans love you. That's why it's practically impossible to get an interview with you in person because you're just so swamped signing autographs. But you have a huge fight rematch. The boxing world is going to be electric that night when you face Emanuel Navarrete in a rematch on ESPN December 7th at Phoenix Footprint Center. Any last words to the fans that'll be tuning in and be rooting on for you?
Man, I just want to thank everybody for being with me in this last couple of years, ups and downs. But one thing that I will promise, I never promise anybody no knockout. I don't promise you a fight of a year, but I will promise to my fans each and every time I'm inside that ring, I will give them my 100%. I will leave everything inside that ring, my gut, sweat, tears, blood, everything. I will leave it inside the ring because that's what I was born for. I was born to fight. And for those fans out there, this is for you guys.
Appreciate it.